going on, everybody? Corey Sturgey, aka Bonezdagoat, back here with another conversation that cures with my brother.
Ryder, aka Ryder Grooms.
Pop.
So, our last episode, we talked about the expectations of a man, and as the conversation began to unfold, it kind of led us into our next subject, which is the expectations of a father. So, Pops, take it away.
I think last time we was talking about, I think I closed out. I was talking about, as a father, we have to be careful where we place our expectations or allow people to place expectations on us. And one of the things that I learned was that my children expected certain things from me, expected me to be a certain way. And even, um, at the time, my former wife expected me to do something. And I had to make the decision that I'm not still going to live up to what you expect me to be. And that's one of the hardest things I think I dealt with was that right there. But I found my balance in it because I found out what I valued. I found out, that I had integrity with myself and then also my character. So I began to build from those three things. And when I began to build from those three things, I was able to lay a solid foundation first within myself and then with my children and then, the whole family in general. So, once I learned what I valued and my integrity, and one of the things that really helped me in being a father was integrity. And to me, integrity is not just about keeping your word to yourself. I view integrity by being real and honest with yourself. So don't, what do I mean by that? I had to learn not to live in a space that I wasn't. I wasn't capable of living. Don't live in a space that you want your children to see you in. In other words, be real where you're at, and then you'll be accepted with more respect at being there. But at times, because of what I went through, and I didn't have my father, my real father rejected me. My stepfather at the time, when I was young, was an alcoholic, but our relationship mended. I didn't want my children to experience nothing that I went through. And, I began to try to build and raise them in that right there. And I found out early that was wrong. That was dead wrong because I cannot hold my children or protect my children when they're not in front of me. I can't do that. I don't have the power to do that. So I was trying to extend myself in such a way to where I'm like, I got power to protect you when you're gone. I don't have that power. But that put pressure on me. Only thing I had power over was me. Yeah. So I had to be the best me in front of them. And one of the things that I learned to do, and I thought that became very valuable as being a father, was to learn to say sorry. And I had to be okay with, excuse my expression, fucking up because I did it many a times. But in doing that, I learned how to recover. I learned how to show love. What did I do? I had to go back and say to them, listen, I'm sorry, I messed up. I messed up. I messed up. And once I learned how to say sorry and understood that it was okay to mess up, then that took a lot of pressure off of me, a whole lot of pressure, because then it allowed me to be where I was at. I wanted to have a whole bunch of money. I wanted to have this and that. But at the time, I just didn't have it. But I gave what I had. And also, I learned this, that as a father, it's my responsibility to get better at being me. Because if I don't grow and invest in me, my children suffer. My loved ones suffer. So if I didn't get better, if I didn't feed myself spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, if I didn't do that, then my kids would suffer that. So I learned not to say this, this is who I am. This is who you choose to be. This is who you just choose to sit and be. So I did my best to do what? Get better. And I learned this because it was important to continue to grow. And I found out if I didn't improve as a father, then that means I would keep my family in the same storm in life. And that storm was a storm that was within me. It wasn't nobody else. So I had to deal with things that were in me. So it made me learn to be present with me. Now, there were things I ran into about myself that was devastating, that was hard. But I realized that if I don't deal with it and I push it to the side, then guess what? I raise my children like that. And sometimes as fathers, we think that things that we don't say our kids don't pick up. Our kids pick them up. Kids will pick them up. So the best thing to do is to deal with your storm. Deal with what you feel that you're insecure about, your fears. I had to deal with all that. I had to deal with all it. But I found, and I'm so grateful that I dealt with it. And there were even times as my son, he got older, as I continue to grow, because one of my values is self-growth, self-awareness. As my son got older, as Bones got older, the thing that I did is when I would learn something new, I would go back to him and I would tell him about it. And then I would find out things that I've done wrong. I would go back to him, even at this stage in life, and I would apologize to him. But I would tell him, okay, this is what I've learned here. And I remember one time we went and we talked, and I had to apologize because my son thought it was his responsibility to carry the family. And I didn't know he thought like that. I didn't know. We was walking around the neighborhood, and I had to tell him, man, that was never your responsibility. That was mine. And I'm sorry that you've carried that all your life. Now, the effect of that was this. He has the expectations at times where he feel he got to do everything. As a father, I had to forgive myself and also know that I'm no longer that person and go apologize to him to set him free from it. But as men, we carry at times, quote unquote, the family. And if we don't improve, if we don't have self-awareness, I learned that the family suffers.
I feel like that conversation that we had, I remember it. I was mad. I was yelling, and I remember you just kind of just. The thing I really respected, it was like you didn't try to justify. Like you left your ego at the door when we had that conversation, because the stuff that I was saying, as a father now, if my son was to say that to me, I know it would hurt, and I know it hurt hearing those things. But the one thing I always valued about our relationship is you always kept an open door policy with me. I told this nigga when I lost my virginity the same day. You know what I'm saying? Like we always had that type of relationship, and I didn't get in trouble as a kid, not because I was afraid of him, but because I respected him so much. I never wanted to disappoint him. So when he came and he told me that, it did a lot for me because I was a dad at that time, and it kind of took that pressure off me to where I'm able to focus on me being a father and not being a son, feeling like I got to take care of my parents. So by him doing that, it freed me up, but I always appreciated that with him, because I remember we had a conversation one time and I was telling him that conversation changed a lot of things with me, because from that point on, the expectations that I had of my dad as a child, I used to compare him to other people. Well, why don't we have this, and why don't we have this, and why did I have to do this? My friends' parents didn't make them do that. And I had to sit and had to think. I was like, none of my friends have a relationship with their father the way that I do. Yeah, we were homeless. Yeah, we got evicted. Cars got repoed. We were broke. But the one consistency that I had was a present father. And he never tried to be perfect. He didn't care about being perfect. He just cared about showing up. He knew that every day he came home, no matter how my day was, I had to be dad. You know, I got to put that hat on as soon as I walk in the door. And I never remember a time my dad saying, I don't feel like it. You know, I knew he always made himself available. So because he was like that, I think about that when I come home from work, when I'm stressed out about my day and I walk in the house and I see my kids, and it's like, that shit don't matter no more. And I had to come back and apologize to him because I was mad at him about stuff from when me a kid. And I said, I used to beat you up so much. In my mind, when I didn't even see the real gift of it all, the gift was just you being there, you know? And I took that for granted because of me allowing expectations of what the world says a father is supposed to be instead of sitting back and appreciating the man that I have. This nigga got a ninth grade education. You know what I'm saying? We ain't even supposed to be where we're at right now in life, you know? But then I took that and I applied that to my parenting with my children. It's like, I may not have everything, but I'm going to give you everything that I got. I'm going to give you all that I can give from Corey. And I know if I do that, then it'll be enough. It'll be enough. So that helped me so much because when I had Kai, I went through a similar situation. When we was younger, we was living at my grandmother's, my mom's parents' house in the basement. Then when Kai came, we ended up moving in with my parents, and here I am. I'm finding myself in the same position my dad was. So it was like the grace of God. I thank God that I did have a father there to give me the encouragement, to give me the wisdom and the guidance to be like, hey man, this is just temporary. You're gonna be all right. You're doing a good job. And that's all at that time, that's all I needed to hear was that you're doing a good job. And I thank God for my kid's mother, for Chaz, because she stuck in it with me. You know, she was there with me when we struggled. And she didn't put that expectation on me. I put that on myself. She trusted me to take care of our kids. And I thank her for that and I always appreciate that. But my father telling me was like, man, I'm so proud of the father that you are. That was like my battery. That was like that moment where it's like, the expectations you put on yourself is too heavy, man. It's too heavy. You know, I wanted to have my kid in Gucci and Louis and stuff like that. You know, chains and stuff. My dad was like, Kai don't care about that. He will wear some light up Spider-Man shoes. You doing too much. Just be his dad. That's enough, Corey. And by me adapting into that mindset, it was beautiful because he got that revelation at the time he was supposed to get it. He wasn't supposed to learn that about Greg when I was 13, 14 years old. He had to learn that when Kai was born, when I became a father. Because now he's being able to sit on the outside looking in. It was like, my son is dealing with the same exact things I went through, and I know exactly what to tell him. And I didn't need money. I just needed my dad to tell me, hey, you're doing good. And sometimes as men, we need that. That's why it's so important to have a community, to have a good circle of people and support, because sometimes that's all we need.
Yeah.
You know, the world,
That's all you got.
that's all you got, bro. The world gets so heavy sometimes. A nigga just need a hug,
Yeah.
you know, or just a pat on the back, because a lot of men don't talk about these type of things, you know, or they don't have that outlet to do it.
Yeah.
You know, so I thank God that he did struggle in my childhood. I thank God that he sucked at certain things, that he wasn't good at things, because him having to endure that and taking the time to learn who Greg was, it enabled me to be the father that I am today.
It's one of those beautiful things where it's like, and I think I talked about it on one of our episodes where I said, like, you were able to learn through his experiences. And I think for me, that's one of the biggest things that is, I would say I'm like a sponge, right? I try to take other people's experiences and see what they did right, see what they did wrong, right? Because I didn't have a father. I didn't have that relationship. I didn't have somebody to guide me and mold me and show me what a man was supposed to be like. But I had other examples all throughout my life so far. So there was never an expectation of what a father was supposed to be because I didn't know what a father was supposed to be.
Okay.
Unless I seen it through other people's experiences. And a lot of people whose relationships with their dads that I seen growing up and even things like that, like a lot of the time, you see the outside.
Yeah.
You see perfection. We don't see what happens behind closed doors or in those people's homes. So I know for me, even being, I love the dynamic that we have. Like, right, I'm the new father. You have two, and now Pop, obviously, yeah, grandfather.
Pop.
So like, when I became like, I wasn't expecting to become a father at the time when I found out I was going to become one.
All right.
I wasn't expecting that. I was making the reckless actions to do it, but in the same sense, I wasn't expecting it to happen. But I knew when I got the news and when the decision was made, I knew in my heart and my soul what men who I was around would do in that situation, right? Because of their experiences. I knew I had to step up to that plate. I knew that child was going to be me, and I knew I had an opportunity to be everything that my father was not in my life with my child. And it was a beautiful thing because I got to right the wrongs, right? I got to give an experience to somebody that I never had, which is beautiful for me. But it's tough, man, because just like you're talking about those expectations of a father, like you know the story. Like me and her mother have had our bouts throughout the year, throughout the whole time since we've known each other. And in my mind, my expectation of a father is I need to make this work because I want to give her that happy home. I want to give her that life, man. I didn't come from a 2-parent household. So at times there's a battle, right? And now things are working out. We're doing well, everything like that. But there was that fight still in those moments early on where it was like, I don't know what I should do. And I was losing myself once again in those expectations because it's like, no, what society and what in the picture of my head that I should have is I should be there as a father, as a partner, and all the above because I want this family, right? So I had to use my anchor and come back to myself in order to really see and have some clarity to allow myself to be like, yo, here's what is really what Mike wants, you know?
I feel that. I feel that, and I'm grateful for it because I've seen the growth with you being a dad, and I know that expectation, and I know that's a different type of pressure because when I'm going through stuff, I talk to him every day. I can call him, you know what I'm saying, and I know that there's men out there that don't have that. So to make that conscious decision, I feel like it takes. I'm keeping a buck with you. I feel like you're stronger than I was in that situation. You know what I'm saying? Because I have like my handicap in a sense. Like I can lean on him if I need things. You kind of was like you immediately had to take that self-awareness growth and internalize it and figure out what is Mike's vision of a father? No, I don't care how everybody else looks. What does that look like for me? What did I not have and what can I offer to my child that I didn't get to make sure that I can make sure that she doesn't have to combat certain things that I do? So I take my hat off to you because you started off behind the ball. You know what I'm saying? I started off with a few already in the pocket. You know, I was good. So I want to just commend you, bro, because I love seeing how your growth is with your daughter right now. And I like seeing the different experience, how happy you are when she growls at you. You know what I'm saying? And just hearing the different stories of how do I discipline her at this age and stuff. But it's a process, bro. And if nobody told you enough, you're doing a good job. You're doing a damn good job. As your friend, as your brother, I'm proud of you. I see the growth. And I'm excited to see the young lady that you're going to raise and see how she flourishes and the lessons that she gets from life and how she applies them to her character and who she's going to be in the future, because I know for a fact she has a great father because he's a great man before he was a good dad. So I appreciate you. And on that note, we're going to wrap it up for this episode. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, turn on those post notifications, share it if you see anything in here that relates to you. And also, If you have any topics that you wanted to discuss with us or have any questions, drop in the comments below. We'll see y'all next week with another one from Conversations That Cure. I'm your host, Bonezdagoat.
I'm Ryder.
Y'all take care. Peace.
Oh,